Imagine stepping back to a time when you could take to the sky on a commercial aircraft not much bigger than a bus internally, sat only a few feet away from the pilot, the stench of aviation fuel being quelled only when you lit up from the comfort of your seat. It's hard nowadays to imagine taking to the skies in such a small and quaint aircraft, but this was one of the aircraft of the now lost and folded Northeast Regional Airline, Gill Airways. In this video, I'll be taking a look at the history of this Northeast airliner, explore one of its old aircrafts, its very retro website, and find out what happened to it in the end. Gill Airways originally started as Gill Aviation in 1966 by former RAF pilot and Formula 3 racer Mike Gill. Mike Gill set up Gill Aviation with his father in Newcastle, becoming a private company 3 years later in 1969. Mike had begun flying at age 17 and was already a familiar figure on the road racing circuits by the mid-60s. Gill Aviation started as a small general aviation outfit, offering a maintenance for Piper aircraft, hangar space, refuelling, as well as freight and private air taxis, and providing the flying training facilities for Newcastle Aero Club. By 1969, they had 6 aircraft and 4 pilots. By 1971 though, Gill stopped providing flying training and focused more on air taxi services, with a small fleet that included a Cessna Super Skymaster and Piper Twins, catering to business travellers such as the Tuxedo Junction owner, Michael Quadrini, as well as builders, clothes store owners, and the North Sea oil sector, ferrying cooks to and from the rigs. Throughout the 1970s, things moved steadily, until the early 1980s brought challenges. Financial strain led to the company changing hands. Mike sold up in 1984, moving from Jesmond to America, and the business was sold to Tim Jobling Purser in January 1985, who then turned it from a charter and freight airline to scheduled services by 1989. In 1989, a rebrand to Gill Air marked the next chapter. Scheduled passenger flights launched from Newcastle to cities like Belfast, Manchester, and Aberdeen, with mail operations continuing overnight, maximising aircraft use and revenue. Larger aircraft were brought in, including the Shorts 330, enabling the airline to land crucial postal contracts. Gill Airways was the leading supplier of aircraft for the Royal Mail's nighttime high-speed mail delivery network, Skynet, which gave the airline a new life. In the 90s, growth accelerated, and Gill was acquired by a new investment group with backing from private equity. The airline was renamed once again, this time Gill Airways, signalling even bigger ambitions. More routes followed, from Newcastle to Dusseldorf, from Scotland to Belfast and Donegal. Gill Airways were even operating flights for Newcastle United and had hopes of ferrying them across Europe if they qualified. In autumn 1997, Gill acquired its most significant partner when it began a twice-daily Air France franchise service from Newcastle to Paris Charles de Gaulle. The success of this service, which contributed to a 60% increase in traffic between Newcastle and Paris, led to a major expansion of the airline's relationship with Air France, the world's number 3 airline in terms of international passengers, leading to Gill's acquisition of its first jets. The Shorts aircraft were phased out, and in 1999, Gill entered the jet era by leasing 3 Fokker 100s, operating flights under franchise for Air France from Paris to Northern Europe under the Air France by Gill Airways banner. Gill also leased out aircraft to other operators. One ATR 72 went to Euroscot Express, a small startup based far from the northeast, in Bournemouth. That venture folded within a year, leaving Gill financially exposed. But still, Gill pressed on. By 2000, it was flying a robust regional network, linking the northeast with Aberdeen, Belfast, Stansted and Teesside, and running several cross-Scotland routes too. The airline had 14 aircraft in operation by mid-2000, but financial pressures remained. In March 2001, Gill's new leadership placed the airline into administration. However, it wasn't the end, not yet. The business kept flying while restructuring efforts got underway. In early 2001, a management buyer pulled Gill Airways out of administration. The airline was stabilising. In fact, August 2001 was its most successful financial month ever. Then came September the 11th, and the airline was grounded. The Bank of Scotland, Gill's primary lender, withdrew support. Officially, it was attributed to post-9/11 uncertainty, but many suspected there was more to the story. New insurance premiums skyrocketed, up to 800% per passenger, and even higher for overall coverage. But Gill reportedly still had cash in the bank. Had the bank waited just a few more days, the company might have paid off critical expenses and bought some breathing room. Whether it was just bad timing or a strategic decision by financiers, the plug was pulled, and the Northeast lost its own homegrown airline at the height of its operations when it was carrying some 38,000 passengers monthly, including 25,000 on its own scheduled services. Scheduled destinations at the time of its demise included Newcastle, Belfast City, Aberdeen, Wick, Teesside, Humberside and Paris. Gill Airways wasn't just a business, it was a launching pad for aviation careers across the UK. Many pilots, engineers and cabin crew got their start here. It was a sad end for a regional gem that almost made it big, with many staff having fond memories of working at Gill. What became of Mike Gill, I cannot say. He'll now be around 85 years old and hopefully enjoying his retirement stateside. If you've got any memories of Gill Aviation, Gill Air or Gill Airways, I'd love to hear from you in the comments.